Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the SPCMaker 100 SP. This is another 2-inch micro from SPCMaker. A little bit different components than, let's say, the 95 GF and the 90 NG. Has the same kind of motors, I believe. The Sunny Sky rebrands here, the 1104 7500 kV. This time they're going with the Hulky 2043 bladed props versus the Gemfan 2035 4-bladed props from before. Got the same RunCam micro swift in the front here with the 2.3mm lens, a little bit narrower field of view. This frame here is pretty typical of the SPCMaker frames. They're kind of built like tanks. 3mm bottom plate, I think kind of overkill for something of this size. I think the 2 is 1.5 or 2 is going to be plenty for an 1104 motor. 2 if you want to be a little more safer, but 3 is just like you're almost never going to break a 3mm arm for something this size. Is never going to go fast enough, or unless you drop it from 1,000 feet at 150 miles an hour, you're never going to break an arm. Plus the rest of the frame design here is very much like a tank. You got two 1.5mm side plates, and pretty much everything is well protected, although something could still come in from the side and hit the stack because the stack is exposed, but that's not pretty unlikely, and usually something's going to be coming in from the front area most of the time. One downside of this frame is the lack of camera protection. You can clearly see here the lens is protruding well beyond the frame side plates here, so if they could redesign the side plates here and make them come out a little bit, just a few millimeters, it'll add a little bit of protection for the camera, which I think is needed. And it's a pretty simple design change, so I'm not sure why they would release this with this kind of a flaw, because you're going to be coming in this direction and the camera is going to be pretty much the first thing that's going to hit the tree. And even though the rest of the frame will survive the tree hit, the camera will definitely not. So the rest of the components here, you have a 4-in-1 Biel-Heli S ESC. It's a 20 amp, so should be plenty of power. You have a Omnibus F3 flight controller, not an F4, but it does have the Betaflight OSD. And then you have a power switchable video transmitter, 0, 25, and 200 milliwatts. I believe it's the same one that comes on a lot of the other SPCMaker models. Has a one-button operation here with 2 LEDs for changing your bands, channel, and power. Although I really don't like the fact that there's only 2 LEDs here, not a little indicator. And so it's hard to tell what channel you're on, and it's difficult to know if the channel you're changing it to is the correct channel. It's this particular methodology is probably one of the worst for the video transmitter. These days everything has smart audio or tramp, and it's changeable via the Betaflight OSD. So my advice to the SPCMaker is, in your next generation of drones, make sure that your video transmitters are adjustable via the Betaflight OSD. So it's they don't cost a lot more than these really terrible one-button video transmitters. So I would recommend them changing that. Although the video transmitter itself, once you find the channel and have it working, transmits video fine. It's got a pretty decently sized long antenna here, so that has good reception, good transmission away from the frame. So you'll see that in the flight demo of the video is okay. The receiver I have in here is a FlySky receiver. It does come in FreeSky, I think it's an XM Plus, and DSM2, and also a plug-and-play version I believe are also available. On the back here you have 2 LEDs and a buzzer, and of course they're using the XT30 connectors, so all good there. So I'm not using the included battery straps. I'm going with the rubber bands that I usually use, and some basically some silicone on the bottom here to grip the battery. It does come with 2 350 milliamp hour 3-cell batteries, 30 Cs. I think the same ones that come with a lot of the other 2-inch models. And you get, of course, the case and some battery straps and zip ties and Velcro and stuff like that. Typical stuff that comes in all the other SPCMaker models. And if you want to see the unboxing of this, you can watch the previous haul video. I'll put a card in the corner for that if you guys want to check out the unboxing. Now the firmware that's on the flight controller is Betaflight 317, so it's a bit older version, but they did bother to put a tune on here, and I flew it out of the box without changing any of the tune at all. The only thing I changed was the rates, because the rates they had in here were pretty fast. So if you don't like twitchy, then I would adjust the rates to the rates you like. Otherwise you might find that it'll do a flip really quickly and unexpectedly when you provide input. But other than that, the PIDs were fine. I flew it out of the box without any PID changes, and with the stock 350 batteries included, I thought it flew pretty well, and you'll see that in the flight demo. So I am glad that SPCMaker has been taking our advice and putting a tune on these before shipping them out, although it is running an older version of Betaflight at 3.17. I believe 3.3 is out now, so they are a couple of versions behind now, so at least they could catch up and maybe not be so far behind in their Betaflight versions. So while I found that it did fly pretty well, I think that it is a bit on the heavy side. This comes in at 77 grams, as you see here. If you look back at some of the older videos, the Diatone 90 GTR90, that one was about 75 grams. This is a little bit heavier than that at 77 grams, but it's not quite as heavy as the Babyhawk R 2-inch. I think that one was around 80 or 82 grams, somewhere in there. Although this one is also kind of built like a tank, like the Babyhawk R with the 3mm arms. But this one doesn't have that plastic canopy that the Babyhawk R has. Anyway, so since I flew with the stock PIDs, there aren't any PIDs to provide, if in case anyone's asking me for any PIDs. The PIDs are the ones that are included stock, and I did not change them, so what you see is what you get. So at this point, I'll go ahead and I'll just go ahead and roll you some flight demo footage. If you got any questions, let me know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.